Hello, and welcome to another Wednesday with Debbie and I, Debbie Squared. And tonight we're
Hello
going to
and
learn
welcome to another
how
Wednesday
to
with
build
Debbie and
an
I, Debbie
empowering
Squared.
model of our world. So we want to learn how to empower ourselves instead of being disempowered by all of the things that happen in our lives. And the biggest things that sometimes we're aware of and sometimes we're not are the beliefs, the values, and the rules that we have around those beliefs and values that determine whether we are living empowered or disempowered. So, um, for me, in my past, I wasn't actually aware of all the ways that I was letting um, my beliefs determine how my life was going to go. So I had disempowering beliefs, limiting beliefs, really, that I wasn't even 100% aware of. So when it came to my career, it was very limited. I was like, this is the one track, this is the path that I'm on. I decided when I was in high school what I was going to do, and I followed that path, and I never changed paths or really thought about doing anything else. Now, I do have to say that for me, I do find my career, because it's in teaching, to be very fulfilling. And I've had some things happen along the way um, that changed my path, like going from general education to special education. And that wasn't something that I had seen for myself. But when the opportunity presented itself, I took it. So I think I've always been slightly empowered, or at least brave enough to take opportunities that were given to me if I wanted to change my life. But the part of my life that was disempowered was the part that said, I can only have so much. I was always waiting for what's going to go wrong. This can't last. Um, waiting for the negative to come after the positives, and really thinking this is as good as it gets, until I woke up to the fact that I was able to replace some of those old beliefs and disempowering beliefs with more positive and empowering ones. And that's what we're going to discuss here a little bit later. Um, Specifically, though, like, I just think life is more enjoyable now that I have let go of the disempowering beliefs and replace them with empowering ones, because now, even when things go wrong, I know that they're going to be okay, because I've changed all my beliefs about, um, I guess, feeling like somebody's after me, or somebody's like people are intentionally trying to harm me, mentally, physically, whichever way. I've learned to trust better, myself and those around me. So that's created a much warmer existence for me. Debbie, what has your experience been?
Oh, well, I love your story, and I'm so happy for you that you've turned it around from kind of when is the next shoe going to drop and something's going to go wrong, to being really positive, and that, there's no reason for things to go wrong. It's all good. I think that's amazing. And that's a
Thank
good thing. Well, what I found, I guess, and what really I've been thinking about quite a bit lately is how I've kind of gone through the world thinking that there's something wrong with me. And I know that's not funny,
It's
but
not for me, but
there's things that I do or I don't do, and I see a lot of people doing something, and I have no um, care about it, or it's not something that really makes I'm interested in, or not the way that I would do things, and I think that there's something wrong with me. And I'm going to give you an example, and I've used this example before. But when I was in, I guess, grade 10 and 11, when we were doing social studies, that's many years ago. All these kids knew all sorts of things about current events and about our government and the history and all this stuff. And I was feeling like there was something wrong with me because not only did I not know a lot about it, even when I tried, I just never picked it up because I didn't have the interest. So I thought there was something wrong with me. And as I have gone through my own transformation and started looking at things from a different way, I realized there's nothing wrong with me. And as a matter of fact, my beliefs about the media and stuff like that are actually good beliefs because there's so much negative in the media, and kind of keeping up with current affairs means you're keeping up with a lot of negativity and a lot of things that I'm glad that I'm not interested in them. And so it's really turned around for me. And that's only one example. There's so many other parts of my life that I thought I wasn't good enough, or that I didn't, something was wrong with me because it wasn't something on my radar or something I was interested in, that now I realize there's nothing wrong with me. I'm 100% okay. And I've been on the right track all along. I just didn't know it.
Right?
What can you do, right?
I can definitely relate to the history disinterest. I've never been great at history myself, and I think I still kind of feel that way. Like I like going to historical towns and visiting historical sites, um, but and I can gather like the big theme, like what was the idea behind the event, like why was it significant, like because this power took over that power or whatever. But I could never quite remember all of the details. Like on this date, sir, so and so did such and such. Like not not good. So I get that, and you're right. I've also done the same thing as you, and obviously we're on this journey together, and so I've disconnected from the media as well, and noticed the difference that it makes in your life because you're just not feeling, like I said, like you feel like somebody's out to get you all the time, right? And I don't have that anymore. And important things that need to find us do find us. So it's not like we're putting our head in a hole and ignoring all the world's troubles, but we're just not bombarding ourselves with it every minute of every day, going, oh, see how bad everything is. We should panic. So I love that.
Thanks.
So all right, so we said we're going to talk about beliefs and values today. So I would like to touch on what a belief is. And beliefs are basically things that we know for sure, right? Like, I believe that grass is green. I believe that trees grow. Um, those are kind of facts, and I believe them, right? But then we have other beliefs that can kind of be questioned, right? Like, I believe that all rich people have sold out their values to earn the mighty dollar, right? That's a belief some of us might have. I believe that people who um, go to church on Sunday are the best. These are beliefs that we might have grown up with, right? And this is ultimately, beliefs are things that we think we know for certain, right? And there are some things that we believe that are fundamental truths of the universe and the world. And then there are the beliefs that we grow up learning, or we have experiences and we form beliefs. And what happens though is sometimes is we have two different kinds of beliefs. We have global beliefs where we say all, a lot of people just do this when it's an easy one, so I'm going to use it. All men are lazy bums and they're jerks, right? Some people might think this. And some people might say all women are selfish, self serving, greedy, gold diggers. Okay. Now we're saying all. I'm not saying that no men are not of value. or value like very compassionate, loving people. There are some who are not. There are also women who are kind of shallow, right? And they're kind of self-serving, but not all of them.
Exactly.
So we can't put everybody in these things. So those are global beliefs that we make. They're kind of blanket statements, all this, all that. And when we do that, though, we kind of really start limiting ourselves on what we can experience because we're blocking people out of our lives based on these beliefs. And ultimately, when we have these beliefs for ourselves, so I could have a belief that says, um, I can't have a career and be a good mom. Therefore, I'm only going to either be a stay-at-home mom or I'm going to have a career, but I'm going to feel really guilty and beat myself up if I'm having a career and trying to raise kids, right?
Hmm.
So what we have to do then is change those beliefs and realize that, like, take a real good look at ourselves and be aware of our beliefs, because that's the first step of like really um, growing and creating this empowering life that we're looking to have, is that we have to take a real good look at the belief and ask ourselves some questions. So, um, for me, actually, it wasn't so much that I thought I would be a bad mom if I had a career when I first became a mom, but part of me did kind of feel that way. And I thought, going back again to me thinking people are always out to get me, I actually just felt like nobody should be around my kids except for me. But but in my role as a stay-at-home mom, I received some backlash from moms who were working and sending their kids to daycares. And, um, like, well, what are you doing? What are you, and you're like, all you are is a stay-at-home mom, right? But to me, it was really important. And then eventually, though, I did have to go to work and still raising young children. And I was like, oh, okay, now how am I going to adjust here? And at first I did feel a little bit guilty, like, oh my gosh, now I have to send my kids to a daycare or I have to find a sitter while I'm going to work. And because I did feel a little bit of that, well, that's going to make me a bad mom. That makes me a bad mom if I do that. I had to ask myself, why do you think that? Okay. Now, I grew up with a mom that did not work while I was young. Um, I am in education, so I do know the importance of a maternal figure and these bonds and the environment of a family, right?
Hmm.
But I had to really ask myself, like, but why do you really think that? And is it true? Can you not have a career and be a good mother? And this is just one example. This is like everybody has to plug in their own things here. But for me, what I had to realize was I can have a career. And especially by having a career that I believe in and that fulfills me, and I feel like I'm contributing and I'm making a difference during the day while also earning a living to support my family. Okay, those are things that we need. And then I realized that as long as I could be present with my children when I was with them, and I was able to provide a safe home and a loving home, and I was still able to, save some energy and have fun with them, that's what my children needed. So, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or whether you're a mom having a career and raising young children, you're still a great mom as long as you're nurturing your children and having that quality time with them. So that's a new belief. Like, so I got rid of the old beliefs and took on these empowering beliefs that said, no, I am a good mother because I am providing for my kids, but I'm still nurturing them. And so, with any belief that we have, that's like the first question you have to ask yourself, why do I believe that? And is it true? And then you can turn it around into a positive. And you don't want to like state these things in a negative and say, like, I don't want to be a neglectful mother. That's not empowering. You want to make sure that whatever you're saying, you say, I am a compassionate mother. I am a present mother. I am a great mother. I'm a nurturing mother. Those are the things that when you state those beliefs for yourself in that way, That's empowering you to be what it is you want to be within your belief system. So I hope that helps people understand, though. Like, it's just kind of that we have beliefs of things we think are certain. Some of them are, but you should be questioning the ones that, um, like when you hear that voice in your head telling you something and you know it's stopping you should question that and ask yourself those questions. Is it true? Why do I believe this? And is there another way that I could change it? Like, what do I want to change about this? Right? And then state it in a positive for yourself and remind yourself, I am dot, 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 until, and then enact that way and believe it about yourself because more than likely it is true. So that's just a touch on beliefs. There is a little bit more. I could probably talk all night about it, but I think that that's a nice beginning point for understanding the beliefs that either create an empowering or disempowering life. So,
Yeah, and I have to say that you can be a stay-at-home mom and
yeah,
be a real bad stay-at-home mom too. It's not all moms who stay at home are good moms. And that,
very
so,
true.
those global beliefs can be very, um, very deceiving, I guess, because
Yes,
they really can be limiting, for
right,
sure,
right.
for sure.
Yeah, especially putting a label on the role of a mother being like, I'm a good mother or a bad mother based on whether I have a career and I leave the house to go to work or I stay at home.
But
That's
that, yeah,
it's
for
a ridiculous.
sure.
It is a standard that people think like, oh, well, if you're a stay-at-home mom, well, then you're an amazing mother. Exactly. Maybe you are and maybe you're not.
But it
Just
also
because you're a
puts a lot
stay-at-home
of,
mom is not
yeah,
the determining factor.
no, and it puts a lot of pressure on you.
Yes.
Well, I remember when I was not a stay-at-home mom, but I was home on maternity leave, and I felt like all I did was make breakfast and then clean up after breakfast, then get ready for lunch and clean up after lunch and then get ready for dinner and clean up after dinner.
Right?
So, but it's, it's different, and we have to be careful that we're not making too many global sweeping beliefs
Yes.
that are limiting us. And our values kind of fall into a similar kind of thing. We're talking about beliefs and values, and they're different, but they're, in a way, they're the same. They definitely intertwine,
Yes.
and much of our values is actually determines about our experience in life. What we value will determine the decisions that we're going to make. But here's the thing, Deb, most people do it unconsciously. They don't question their values. And not only that, those values were likely adopted or developed when we were at a young age, and we didn't even really, they were just kind of put upon us and not really something that we thought about. And that's the other thing, is a lot of people, and most of us, don't even really take a chance to think about, what are my value, what do I value. And so I think, to explain what values are, because it's kind of, to me, a little bit of a out there term, if you will. What is a value? I think talking about what some values are might help better. One of my values is life, just in general. So, see, there's life. So, anyway, um, so some values, you might value health. You might value family, and this is where your beliefs about your being a good mother might come in.
Right?
You might value religion or spirituality, maybe generosity. Maybe you value contribution. You value respect. There are so many ways that you can, that values out there. Um, and there's two types of values, just to make it a little, and I don't think we actually think about the fact that there are two types of values. Usually, when we think of values, we think of values being positive things, like what I just said, health. Well, health doesn't always have to be positive, but it's something that take us in a positive direction if we value our health.
Right.
Family as well. We think of those as kind of going towards pleasure, I will say. But there are also away values that will take us to pain if we and so some of those away values where we want to get away from them are things like they would cause pain. So some of them might be
Oh,
conflict, rejection, failure. Oh my gosh. And that was my top, I guess, is one of my top values that I try to like do what I can to avoid, right, and not have. So those are two different types of values that we might have in our life. And so I guess I would say to everybody, when is the last time that you looked at your values? Because we really should know. And when I looked at my values actually probably about a year ago. And, when I thought about it, it was really hard for me to figure out what do I value. So if you want to figure out what you value, one of the way that you should can do that is by looking at where do you spend your time? What are you doing? If you value your health, what are you doing to value your health? But that's going to take us to the next thing. And I'm going to let you talk about the rules because that is very interesting.
it is. Thanks, Debbie. I love that you brought up the away from values because you're right. I don't think we often think of avoiding things as values, but that's actually, it's very, very true. And a lot of our behaviors come from those away from values. So
Yeah, we
I
want to
really like
avoid
that you,
pain.
right. So I really love that you brought that up. So the rules, we have our beliefs, what we think about things in general and globally, and we have our values that we're trying to serve. And then we have the rules. And the rules are what makes it possible for us to feel like we are honoring our beliefs and values, right? So I want to be a loving, caring mother, right? But what are the rules I have around being a loving, caring mother? What do I have to do, right? And you can again substitute any area of your life or any event that's happening and say, what has to happen for me to feel like I've met the goal or I get the feeling that I'm seeking? So for me, wanting to be a good mother, that could mean, like I just said, like for some people, it is meaning I'm home all day with my children. I'm the only one taking care of them. Um, I cook all of their meals. I clean all of their clothes. I clean the whole house. I do all this, right? But what if you're a mother who does have a career or a job, and then at the end of the day, you're tired, and so maybe you do get a takeout dinner, or you let somebody else cook your meal, or maybe you have some help cleaning the house, or maybe somebody's doing some of the laundry, right? But your rules say that you're only a good mother if you're the one doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the caring, all the baths, right? So then, if that's your rule for being a good mother and you don't do all that, then you feel like, well, I didn't do it, right? I failed. I'm a failure as a mother because I didn't do all of those things all the time. And that's a terrible way to live because, you know, you don't have to have all of those rules. So maybe a better, more empowering rule set for being a mother could be, in order to be a good mother, I shared some quality time with my children every day. And that could be it. It can be that simple, right? Because ultimately, as long as your children are fed and clothed and bathed and safe, quality time with you is going to be probably the biggest thing that they remember and will make the biggest impact on their overall mental health and well-being. It's just that quality time with them. So, having rules that make us feel good and we're getting the feelings we want, sometimes we have a tendency to place too many criteria, like so many, this has to happen, this, that, before I can say, yep, I did what I needed to do, right? And whether it is being a mother at your job, right? In your career, no matter where it is in your life, you have rules. It could be even as simple rules for, I talked about this a little bit the other day, like rules for feeling happy. What has to happen today for me to feel like I had a good day? I have to get 10 compliments. I need someone to say, hey, good job today, right? I have to be on time for everything. I have to deliver, any meeting I'm in, I'm going to just nail all the marks and not get anything wrong, right? And then to get home and have dinner with my family, we're going to have a great conversation and we're not going to argue at all. And then I had a great day, right? Because we all know we're going to argue about something sometimes, right? But even if you do have a disagreement with someone, it doesn't mean it's not a great day. So we have to make achieving what we want to, and I'm not saying lower your standards. I'm just saying make the rules for feeling good a little bit less. We put so much pressure on ourselves. And then what has to happen for the opposite to happen? This is where we get our rules about these feelings and how we show up with everything. We make the list of things that has to happen for me to be successful and feel good about myself, like a mile long. And then to feel bad though, one person. Somebody said they don't like your hair today. Well, that's it. I've just had a horrible day. Right? Like that's it. I'm just so angry. First of all, even if my hair looks terrible, they didn't have to tell me. And that why do they have to go out? And you just start this talk, right? Or you're driving to work and you're in a good mood, you're having a good day, your coffee was made perfect, you got just the right amount of creamer in your coffee, and you're good to go, and you're looking good in your suit, and then you're driving to work, things going great, and then somebody cuts you off. Well, that's it, right? Now I'm having a bad day. We make it so easy. We let the rules for the negative really easy and the rules for the positive, this huge long list. So we need to work on really talking to ourselves and saying, okay, if I want to feel like I've accomplished something, this is what needs to happen. I need to have a connection conversation with somebody today, right? There, now you feel valuable and important in somebody's life. Not every person you talk to, but somebody, right? You need to give out 5 compliments today so you could feel like you contributed. Those could be the rules for having a great day. And to have a bad day, I'd have to total my car, end out in the hospital with 3 broken ribs. Um, you know what I mean? Like make it a little harder. And I'm being a little like fun here and playful, but really take a minute and think about what are the rules you have for any area of your life, whether it be your wealth, your health, your relationships, right? All of those areas, we create rules on when will I feel wealthy? When I have $1 million in the bank. Okay, maybe. When am I going to feel healthy? When I can run a full marathon and just check it out and just whoop, and then go out to dinner that night, right? When am I going to feel like I have great relationships? When I'm living in eternal bliss and we never argue because we just see each other. It's like they're the yin to my yang and we just complete each other all the time and we never argue. We have to set realistic rules for ourselves and make the positives easier to attain and make the negatives harder to attain. Is there anything you want to add? Like, and for me, actually, did want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Debbie. I was like, going to invite you. I just wanted to
You
say,
go ahead.
for me, that was a huge thing, changing the rules, right? On what did it mean um, to be successful or um, just like feeling good. Like, what do I need to happen on a daily basis for that? And I did used to set some really high standards for myself. Like, if I didn't, a lot of what I've said today is actually how I used to feel. Like, if I didn't get up, go to work, be super nice, get through the whole day at work. And I'm a teacher. I have all these little people who need all this love and affection. And if I wasn't, if I one time, not that I would even act on it, but if I felt like, oh, this is really getting under my skin today, right? I'd be like, oh, I'm not a very good teacher. And then I'd come home and I'm like, all right, now I'm going to take care of my kids, right? And maybe somebody had soccer practice or an activity at school, and I was supposed to pack a snack and I forgot the snack. And I'm like, oh, what kind of mother doesn't bring a snack to the soccer practice? Oh my gosh, and just so hard on myself. But I went to work, I did the teaching. I came home, I got the kids, I mean, I was still going to make dinner. I still got them dressed. I was still pleasant while we got ready and we went there and they're having fun. And yeah, maybe they're like, hey, mom, where's my snack? And I'm like, sorry, bud, I forgot it. Guess what? It was
They,
okay.
they still got to play soccer.
I still got to play soccer. They were fine. More than likely, most likely. I mean, everybody knows soccer moms are ready, usually, right? So if you forgot snack today, don't worry. Somebody else has an extra snack and a water for your child. And then maybe the next time they forget and you're like, hey, it's all right. Of course I have extra. So we have to really stop being too hard on ourselves in all
Yeah.
these different areas of our lives.
You're making memories of soccer and snacks come back because we used to have a thing where everybody took a turn to bring the oranges to the soccer game. And I'm pretty sure I forgot my day one time and there were no oranges for anybody. So
Right.
my bad mother there, but
Right.
that's
See,
okay. It
it
was
is
only for
okay.
a day.
And
But I
everybody's
have, yeah, and I'm going to talk about the other side of the failure is one of my, I guess, away from values that I'm always trying to get away from and avoid. So I just basically any little thing that I did that I thought I did wrong, and it might not even be anything I did wrong, I would feel like I had failed. And, just as simple as answering a question and not having the right answer in a classroom or in a setting would make me feel like I was a failure. So now I am boosting that up, and instead of thinking that I failed when I do one little thing wrong or when my kids scold me or say something or talk back to me, then I'm a failure as a mom and all that stuff. Um, you know, I I'm going to look for something that's totally significant that might happen. Like, failing would be something like my whole house imploding, and not the fact that, one little thing happened. It's going to have to be something big for me to think it's a failure. And I can also turn it around and say that failures are what lead us to our successes. And that, I think, is the biggest thing for me, is that by failing something, I am actually succeeding because I'm getting the practice in and I'm learning. So the biggest way to learn is by failing your way to success. And so I've turned that around, and I am less likely to avoid things now because I think I'm going to fail, because I know I need to fail. That's part of life. And that's the thing for me.
love that.
All right. So today we talked about beliefs and values and the rules that make up our values, and how we need to make sure that we're not on those positive ones. We're not trying to stack it up to make it impossible to do a good job. And on the negative side, making it hard to really do that negative thing, like for me, failing. I don't know, Deb, if you had anything else you wanted to add before we wrap this up.
Nope. I think I loved what you said there about that. Turn it around and that, yes, we do have to fail. And it's not like we're like, hey, I'm going to go out there and fail, right? But we're going to go out there and try. And if we fail along the way, it's okay. It doesn't mean we're a failure. It just means we failed at that thing. And
And
that's the important.
we're growing. That's what
That's
it
right.
means. We're growing. And this world that we're in, the human experience, is about growth and contribution. So failing our way to growth is what it's all about. Um, but there's I mentioned that we don't always document or think about what our values are and our beliefs as well. And we don't really, we kind of subconsciously let all this stuff happen, including the rules. And one of the other things that we subconsciously just let happen is uh, creating our life, what our vision is for our life, and what we want in our life. And so that's something that we want to see people actually writing it down and thinking about it and going through an exercise of, where do you want to be? Where do I want to be at the end of 2025? And when I ring the bell at New Year's on 2025 into 2026, how do I feel about 2025? And did I meet that expectations? So the first thing we have to do is figure out, what do we want? Where do we want to go? And not just let it happen. There's a beautiful quote that any road, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And we don't want that. We want to know where we're going. So Deb and I are doing a Create a Life You Love workshop coming up next Saturday, which is May the 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So before you get going for your weekend, come visit with us, or come with us to Create a Life You Love, and really think and document and write down what you want out of life, because you're never going to get there unless you think about it and you write it down. So join us if you're interested to create a life that you love and not just be there by default. Then send us a DM, say, yes, create a life I love, and we'll get you into our workshop on Saturday, May 18th at 10 a.m.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks
And
everybody for being here.
bye.
Bye.